What is going on? I know a lot of people click videos and they don't realize how long it is. Like sometimes I do this and then I'm like, whoa, 10-minute video. I don't want to watch this whole thing, so I just immediately leave. But this one is because it is two battles once again, just because I got two good ones and I felt like uploading them. But I put the first one first, which is this team preview you're seeing here, because it's a little better. And the second one is just pretty much me outplaying the crap of my opponent, and then them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But looking at this team, I did make a team that's semi-based around darumaka because it's a lot of fun to use when it works. But the thing is hustle, so it does miss, and oof. But the only thing that's going to be threatening on his team is going to, well, two things: Charizard and the Alomomola. So yeah, let us get into this. Okay, I am leading off with my Molga. I don't really know why. I think I didn't lead off with my Darumaka because of the chance of him to lead off with his Charizard. I don't really know why I didn't. I usually do, but whatever. It works out because I get the chance to encore him into his substitute. Now, knowing that some people like to stay in and just continuously go for the substitute until the encore wears out, I go into my Arbok so I can disable it or whatever. And he goes into his Alomomola. I just glare it, and I wanted to switch up the moves as he protected, so I just switcheroo, and it is going to be good because if he does stay in, which he does, he is going to be taking an eighth of his HP every turn. And I go into my Executor to take the Toxic because he could Toxic me because he soaked me, made me Water type, and I just paralyze him. So I'm pretty sure that is no, that's a not. Never mind. Yeah, so looking back on this, I really should not have chose my Executor to be poisoned because looking at his team, Machoke would do a lot less to his team than my Executor would, and I did not see that, but looking back, I do see that, and I probably, had I taken the time to actually look through, I probably could have done that, so yeah. And, yeah, so he takes out my Executor, and he's leech seeded and stuff, and so he makes a pretty good play, goes into his Alomomola. Now, it may seem weird that it is a, good play because it's weak to my stab and whatnot, but I decided to stay in and go for the air slash, thinking that maybe I can get some hacks going up in here, you know, the flinch and the para, but of course I don't get it, and then he switches out, and I get minimal damage, and I don't kill him because earlier it did like 38 and 36%, so that really sucks. I go into my Arbok knowing that he would not go for the Earthquake, and that is awesome. But that is such a bad matchup, my Gardevoir and my Arbok, so I switch out into my Armaldo. Now, looking that he is at full HP, and that did about half, I thought he was offensive at this point. And so, yes, because he was at full HP and that did half, I thought he was offensive. And I go for the rocks just to get him up because he has no spinner. And then I go into my Arbok knowing that he's probably going to go for the CC. If he wants to go for the Earthquake, then I can go into my Alomomola, get a huge advantage over him and stuff of that matter. So yes, but he does show me that he can switch his moves up, but I do paralyze him. So on this play, I'm like, okay, he's probably going to stay and just try to kill me, you know, whatever. I'm just going to disable his thing, and here I just go for the poison jab, thinking, alright, he might stay in and try to kill me. And on this turn, I think I made a great play, honestly. I was going to slow this down, but I didn't. I just predict him to go out, knowing that he has so many things to take the poison jab, and I just glare, and that's half of his team paralyzed right there. The bottom row, if you're looking at his team, from, yeah, on the side, on the right there, and I go to my Emolga knowing that he would not, he'd probably go for the Earthquake, but he gets paralyzed, and I go for the Air Slash thinking, oh, okay, maybe this time I can get, Flinch or the Para, but of course I don't, and so I'm like, okay, I'm bound to get it at some point, but of course I cannot get the Flinch or the Para off on him, which is actually kind of critical, well, not critical, but had I got even, like, the tiniest bit of hacks, I know I'm, like, complaining about not getting hacks, but still, that's a pretty big chance to flinch and para-flinching, you know? he goes on into his Charizard. Oof, bit my tongue there a little bit. But I always thought that a Molga could outspeed Charizard, but it can't, and it can't outspeed Rapidash either. I learned those both the hard ways. I go to my Machoke just because it's the only thing that can take a hit and take him out in one hit. So yeah, and I have leftovers just because this is the set that Cameruption suggested, and I have been liking Adamant Max Speed with Rock Slide over Payback, though I only tried Payback for one turn. I don't know, but he did have the leftovers, but he still goes for the Sludge Bomb. Had he gone for the Shadow Ball, I just would have straight up lost, but luckily I'm able to take him out with a crit and 2 more Rock Blasts. So here I am able to see if he's defensive or offensive. I'm like, okay, if you're defensive, I probably will win, but if you're offensive, I'm gonna win, or you're gonna win. So I go into my Darumaka, and I see the leftovers. I'm like, okay, I can outspeed him. I outspeed him, completely OHKO him even though he wasn't at complete full, and I'm like, okay, Darumaka, you gotta hit this, but of course I missed. So Hex was kind of completely against me this game. Had I got any of those flinches, max damage on this Golurk, not missed, I don't know. There are so many different things that could have happened. I thought it was an interesting game, and so yeah, you can just watch the rest of this, and I'm going to explain something now. The thing I like about using teams like this is when people see you in the team preview, or when you're just playing in general, they see a Darumaka and a Molga or something, they're like, or an Arbok, I don't even know, they're like, oh wow, this guy's a noob, he's probably going to be really bad, and I know you guys cannot say that you don't, because you do. I even do it. I'm a hypocrite, because when I am playing competitively, and I see someone running around with, like, not the best Pokemon, like a Seal or something, CeeLo, I mean, I'm like, okay, they're not going to be very good. But once you see someone using that, you can assume that they're a noob. You probably can, but once you see how they play, and if they aren't, oh gosh, I think, oh god, don't look at it, don't look, okay, it was showing the middle of the match right there, my apologies, I forgot to do it, but yeah, if you see them playing well, then, yeah, you should probably assume that they're not a noob. So that is what I love about Darumaka, taking out those Golurks in one hit. Oh my gosh, that is what he is best at. And I go to my Arbok just to get the Intimidate and stuff, and now I'm going to go out into my Armaldo, I believe. Or no, I just glare him. Yeah, that's right. I glare on the switch, or if he wanted to stay in, I could live a hit if he didn't get the crit. And now I go into my Darumaka just thinking, okay, he's probably going to go into his Rapidash now, and I can U-turn out of there. But, of course, I missed. That's the really bad thing about Darumaka, is you are going to miss, and I did not realize that he had Life Orb for some reason. I just didn't, and so I'm staying in, and I'm like, okay, I can get the rocks up when he's going to switch out. He's not going to stay in and drill run, and he goes for the Flare Blitz, and that is enough to probably take anything out after the spikes, so I'm just going to stay in and fodder my Armaldo off. And he's taking a bunch of damage back. He can get one more hit off, and here's the part where I learned, wow, I didn't even know that that was in this battle. I learned that a Molga cannot outspeed the Charizard or the Rapidash. So now I'm just going into my Executor. I'm not exactly sure why, just because I didn't want to go back into my Darumaka, and I didn't want my Arbok to be paired up against his Girder. Why did I say that? Garbodor, because they sound alike, and I predict him to switch right here, go for the Stun Spore, but sadly I miss, and he's able to get back to full. Doesn't really matter, and here I switch out into my Arbok, just knowing that he's probably going to be more of an offensive set, and I can probably take any hit that he wants to go for rather well. So now he's at +1, and he goes for the Sucker Punch. I go for the Glare, and so now I'm like, okay, he's probably just going to keep spamming Sucker Punch. So now he goes for the Sucker Punch. I switcheroo just because I'm probably not going to get a chance to give anything else the Black Sludge, so may as well give it to the Cacturne. And I was going to go for the Disable on that turn to troll him even more, but no, he gets paralyzed and then he forfeits. So that was a pretty interesting 2 matches, I thought. Leave a like if you enjoyed. You can comment anything, whatever. I don't know what I was going to say. Don't have enough time. Goodbye.